Slow Homestead. I'm Carol, and today I'm going to show you things that I've been doing to wrap up the gardening season. We're going to talk about compost a little bit and the last of the vegetables. So let's go. Let's take a walk over this way and look at the raised bed. Everything has been harvested out of it, except for just a few garlic plants that came up near the end of the summer. I think I just didn't get all the bulbs out from before. And that little plant right there is an asparagus that just blew over here and started itself from my huge asparagus patch right here that I need to thin so bad. Hopefully I can do that in the next day or two. I put a bunch of compost in my raised bed because it was ready to go. It was in this area where I have a new compost pile starting. And there's a few weeds under there, some old orange chunks that were long lost oranges out of my fridge. Anyway, and a bunch of leaves. But this is where the compost was that was ready to go on my raised bed. So I did that, got this one started. This is the one right here that I've been working on all this summer, and it will go through the winter and just keep decomposing and getting better and better. And at the end of next summer, I will use it on another place. Probably not the raised bed, probably a different garden. I will use this compost pile. During the summer, spring, summer, and early fall, I'll turn it over a few times. And then, like I said, there's the one that I'm working on now. I've got all those shredded papers on it right now, and I'll just keep adding to it. I'm going to show you a photograph of some of my harvest. This year I planted my tomatoes a little late, and you should never do that around here anyway. But I did, and so they took a while setting their fruit. I didn't know if I would get any tomatoes at all, but lo and behold, they started setting their fruit, and I ended up getting quite a few tomatoes, but very small, before the frost came. And they were green. I think maybe one or two of them ripened before I had to pick them all. So I went ahead and harvested all of the small green tomatoes. And I'm going to show you a photograph of that. I just spread them out on a couple of cookie sheets, and after 2 or 3 weeks, almost every one of them ripened. So then I had a whole bunch of red small tomatoes, and what I did with them was washed them all off, cut them in half to make sure the insides were good. There were a few that the seeds looked kind of dark and it didn't look very moist on the inside. You've probably cut into some tomatoes like that before. So those I gave to my chickens. They loved them. But all of the rest of them, after I cut them in half, I blended them in my blender with the skins still on them. So I just tossed them in the blender, blended them up until they were liquefied, strained out the seeds and the skins, took that sauce or juice that I had left over and made lasagna, and it was really yummy. Then I still had some more. I've still got more juice, and I put it in the fridge, and I'm going to make a really yummy recipe called fresh tomato soup that I got from a friend of mine. So I had those green tomatoes, I let them ripen, and then I used them up, and will continue to use them as I make the soup. So that's the saga of my tomato plants. Now I will show you the photograph of the green tomatoes, and also in that photograph you will see some white onions. Planted white ones this year. Don't like them as well as the yellow ones. The yellow ones seem to do better. They all taste the same to me. An onion is an onion to me. So no more planting of white onions, but I'll show you the harvest of those. Also in the photograph I'm going to show you are a bunch of dried parsley sprigs. So I've already taken that dried parsley, crunched it up, put it in a container, and labeled it. Behind me, if you can see something green, right here, these are celery tops, the leaves of the celery. I had a really good crop this year, best ever of celery, and it helps to start your seeds very early, separate them because they're so tiny, separate them and up-pot them when they're strong enough to do that, and then get them outside as soon as you can, protect them, feed them, water them. I just feed them my soil, my composted soil. I had a good crop of celery this year, best ever. I was able to share it with my family members. Now these are the tops. I've been drying them, and so far I've got this much. This is an old or a used barbecue sauce container. So it has, oops, I took it off. It has this little lid that will go on there, and I've already tried it out. It comes out pretty good, just shaking some out. So if you were making soup or anything else that you use celery leaves in, dried celery leaves, just save your barbecue container, barbecue sauce container, and yeah, put your celery leaves in there, and that little hole just dispenses the right amount. For me anyway. Okay, so that's another project I need to do to wind up the season. I will show you that photograph now. Here we are upstairs in the great room. This is where I had my tomatoes all spread out, and my onions and my parsley. And I just wanted to show you the onion harvest with, I didn't show very many in that photograph, but I want to show you what I have left from the onions. Also, I wanted to explain the reason why I said I didn't like these white onions. I like the taste of them just fine, just great. But they didn't grow as well as the yellow onions. They didn't get as big. Their stems didn't bend over. A lot of them didn't bend over naturally. I'll show you what I mean. Okay, first of all, there's these. They did pretty well. These are the ones that ripened first, I guess you might say. Their stems bent over. They formed fairly good bulbs, not as big as the yellow onions do when I've planted yellow onions. Here are a few more, and you can see, for example, this one right here, how it just, all the energy just grew up the stem. Has a very small bulb, and then still it has a lot of greens, even though I've separated it from the bulb. I bent it over and it snapped on that one. But all these others, I've had to bend them over myself after I harvested them. So I'm hoping that the rest of these green parts will dry up soon and I can pull them off and then use the bulbish parts. There's a big pile of the stems I've already pulled off of some of them, like these right here, and these look pretty good, like those first ones that I showed you. And then over here are some more. There's a great big neck on this one. I bent that over, hoping that these long green stems will die. I know that, you can also eat these too. They're kind of like green onions. They are edible. Anyway, there's that great big one. And then there's quite a few over here you can see that have big necks on them. Those, that one, that one, that one. There's some right here that have formed better bulbs. But that's one of the reasons why, the main reason why I don't think I'll grow white onions again. The yellow ones just grow better for me. Okay, while we're upstairs here, I'm just going to show you what I like to do in my spare time. Yeah, jigsaw puzzles. This one is a challenge. It's pretty dark everywhere. There's a few lighter places, but for the most part it's dark. And the rest of it is just all of these darkish pieces. So, working on that one. It's really cold up here though, because this room is above the garage and it gets cold. So we're just gonna hop over here. I've been doing some Christmas puzzles. This is a fun one. And then the wise men. That's a good one too. So, now if anybody knows a market for selling framed puzzles, let me know, because I like doing puzzles. And it would be nice if I could frame some for some people. That would be fun. Then I wouldn't have to keep them all myself. This is a 24-day, is it 24? Yes, 24-day puzzle. Each of those little boxes have puzzle pieces in. So for example, there's number one. It had part of these in. And if you turn over one, maybe some of you have seen these, there's the number one on the back of that. So when you're done with the puzzle, you can put the pieces back in their correct box. And what you do is every day, starting December 1st, you open a box. I'm gonna try to get this back in there, okay. You open a box and you just put the pieces together that are in that box. It's a 1,000-piece puzzle. That's what it looks like when it's done. But it's so easy to do because they're all sorted out for you. There's about 40 pieces in each box, something like that. So easy and so fun, and you're going to end up with a great big puzzle. By Christmas, I could sit down this afternoon and finish it if I wanted to, because it's that easy. I like the idea of having them all separated for me to begin with. Brr, it's cold. I'm going down. One other thing I did before the summer ended was finally get this framed puzzle hung up. Just to prove it's a puzzle. It's really nice. I love it. It's in my kitchen. Got it all hung up. That framed puzzle has been sitting in my bedroom for a long time. I'm so glad I finally got it out of there and up on the wall where it belongs. Which just goes to show you that even when you take it slow, you will eventually get something done. And hopefully you'll be able to accomplish a lot. Thanks for watching.